Welcome back, folks, to the Stockwell Eldridge Show. I'm Jason Stockwell with RE/MAX Results.
Stephanie Havel with Wells Fargo Home Mortgage. Glad to be back.
And we are Ryan Larson with the Anderson Agency and Vicki Swenson with Minnesota Mold Inspections here. And I was going to ask Ryan to follow up on the questions we had for him about insurance and mold and having adequate coverage and umbrellas and things like that. So if you need a checkup, if you need to see where things are at, or how about this? How about you actually were affected by one of the storms that went through, or the main one on June 11th, and you're learning through the process of your claim that you don't like your insurance company right now because it's painful, because something's not going right. Might be a good time to check out options from other agencies. And Ryan's company is a brokerage or insurance broker, so they have a lot of resources to go through different groups to find you not only maybe the cheapest coverage, I shouldn't say that, or the cost-effective coverage, but the best that might fit you for what you're looking for. So,
well, it's like anything, like changing your smoke detectors. You know, we try to tell our customers you should do an annual mortgage review. I mean, do you have any needs? Where are rates at? Do you want to get any cash out? Remove your PMI. And we always encourage our customers at that time as well as check your homeowner's insurance because, have you had any claims? Or maybe I think you could probably allude to maybe some carriers have specials or promos, like if you do your home and auto together, like maybe your kid's driving now, and so now you have your kid's auto insurance, and maybe if you combine that with your home, you could get a better deal, right? Or things like that.
Yeah, you could sell insurance, maybe. If mortgages ever don't work out for you, Stephanie.
Yeah, I got a job. Thanks, Ryan. So you could get a combination. You could get deals on your insurance. Is that still true if you get car insurance and auto together? Or
Absolutely, and in 5 more years, you'll have a special open for you too.
Oh, when I turn 55?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm already getting the ARP cards and everything for the crying out
is there a
loud.
big deal when you get to 55 on insurance?
You can get a defensive driving discount if you take a 8-hour class.
Really? Oh, so they think I'm a better driver at 55 than I am at 50.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Okay, I hope I don't offend anybody out there, but
I would think
if you take a defensive driving class, sometimes let's not be too defensive, as in we don't need to lock up the brakes 30 feet or 50 feet before we get somewhere.
Or
we
go
don't
40 miles an hour when you're merging.
Or we don't need to go in the left lane when it's 65 and everybody's going 70 to 75 and you're going 55. I mean, so I don't want to get on a tangent about the roads and the traffic and all that.
And your road rage.
Not my road rage, but just sometimes the frustration, I'll call it road frustration, sometimes it happens when people drive. And I get the idea of defensive driving, but sometimes that you can be there's a line to everything, right? You can be too defensive.
Well, and so actually, Ryan, so maybe now that you've brought it up, so if our listeners are 55, is that something that your company offers, or how do you find out about that, or what's?
Yeah, I just tell everybody to go online. There's online classes. There'll be classes through your community. I know there's classes through church. All you need to do is type in defensive driving courses near me. If you need more help, feel free to call.
And you have to be 55?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they be doing this for like the 17-year-olds who are driving like maniacs out there? They should actually have them go through classes. Yeah.
They have good student discounts for the good 16, 17, 18-year-olds.
Based on their grades, or what's it based on?
Yep.
So
grades
they could be horrible at school but an awesome driver and they won't get it. So that's no.
Well, those are your kids going to be your kids. I'm just kidding. But so the defensive driving class, is every insurance company offer, like if I call my insurance agent right now and said, I'll tell my brother who's 55, if he goes and takes it, will his insurance company automatically honor that, or is that only with certain companies?
I've never heard of an insurance company not honoring it.
Okay.
But I would always call beforehand because it is an 8-hour class.
Right.
And that's a good tip. So I have a question for Vicki with Minnesota Mold. Do you work with insurance agencies, I'm sure, right, when you get claims and things like that. Are you usually called in by the homeowner because they have a claim started, or how does it work typically in your scenario?
A lot of times the restoration company is there first. They deal more with insurance.
Okay. And then what is some of the worst mold you've seen? Now, Vicki and I met, just a quick story, we met because I had clients who renovated a lot of properties, and a lot of them had mold. A lot of them were foreclosures, and they were mold. There was a house in Egan that I remember specifically because it was vacant for a long time. The refrigerator line to the refrigerator started a small leak. We don't know when, but probably it was at least a year, maybe longer, that it was leaking. So it had buckled all of the floors, there were wood floors on the main floor, and then it was going into one particular room in the basement. And when you went into that room, it was black. The whole room was black. The ceiling was fallen to the ground, and it was black. In fact, I walked in there and almost slipped because it was so slippery that I almost went down onto it, right?
Oh my goodness.
So, and then Vicky tested that initially, right? And then we had to for the buyers that bought it, we had to do a re-verification because they thought it was maybe from the outside walls and things like that. But I mean, that was a pretty bad one. There was some in Brooklyn Park that were pretty bad that we had that one time where the homeowner left the water on and let the home completely flood and freeze. And that one had ceiling fans. You know your ceiling fans? They were bowed down like a flower, like a daisy, like bowed down. The whole ceiling was pitch covered black. There was slime everywhere. I mean, it was bad. These were bad ones.
Wow.
And no matter how bad it is, none of these houses have had to be torn down. They will take them. I've seen them to a shell of a house. They will take out all the flooring, the sheetrock. They'll get it down to sheathing. Sometimes just joists, sheathing, and studs. That's a very drastic case. Most of the time, you don't have to do that. But no matter how moldy it is, you can get that mold out.
And then you spray the whole thing and then
There's a process.
redo it, right? Yeah.
So basically, and I was going to mention that because if insurance isn't covering your mold problem, the other thing I help do is people do it themselves. So I can teach the average investor, homeowner, or landlord to clean like a pro.
Really?
Well, that
was
was
the process. Yep.
Well, that's to clean. That was going to be my question. Is that we talked before about radon, but is there a home mold test kit? So before
the home kits don't work that well. They're usually petri dishes, and you're always going to have some spores, and they're going to land on there. So the home kits are unreliable. The home radon kits are reliable, but the home mold test kits aren't.
are not right.
But cleaning mold is a process. Basically, if it's on sheetrock, carpet, or insulation, it's porous. You have to get rid of it. If it's on wood, you vacuum it, sand it, treat it, and seal it. If it's on concrete, you vacuum it and clean it. So you're really not trying to kill mold, you're trying to remove it. And then after you get all the mold out, while you're doing it, you're running these big HEPA air cleaners to keep your air quality under control. And then you take a HEPA vacuum and you vacuum everything in the room. And you can rent the air scrubbers, and you can use a shop vac with a HEPA filter. So I can literally teach homeowners and investors how to clean like a pro.
And it takes a lot of work. So we did not do it. My partner and I did not do it on this property. We hired it out through Vicky because it was a process and it was a bigger house. But they were invaluable in that. And also the post results or the post tests were key because that allows us to know that we found the problem, right? Because you can clean it all up, and if it's still getting water, it's going to happen again, right?
Yep,
I mean,
yep.
you need to fix the source. And then the buyers were comfortable with that. The buyer's lender was comfortable with that, and everybody was comfortable with that. So it was a great experience working
So
with.
I do it. That's called clearance testing the house after the mold is gone. But even though I can teach you how to clean it yourself, there are some great mold companies out there, and there are some bad mold companies out there. So before you hire someone, call me because I'll let you know if they're
And what's your
trustworthy
number
or
again, Vicki?
shysters.
What's your phone number, Vicki?
612-508-2742.
So I would say mnmold.com. And one tip on that I learned if I took away anything from today from Vicky was the common perception, bleach it. Just pour bleach on it, and it'll kill it, and it'll be fine.
Right.
That's not the best.
And besides,
solution.
we're not trying to kill it anyways. We're trying to remove it. No matter if it kills mold, we're not trying to kill it. We're trying to get it out
So I
of
have a
there.
real quick question for Ryan. We were talking about like the storm damage. So you kind of alluded to whatever, but if I have a claim on my insurance, is my policy automatically going to go up because I've had that claim?
Absolutely not. Especially
Okay.
when we're talking about storm damage. I don't.
That's a
Can you say
tricky one.
Yeah.
but Call
Yeah.
Ryan for that question. What's your number?
612-331-3712.
And we got to run, folks. Have a great week. Thanks, everybody, for coming and being here, and have a great show. And stay tuned for more on The Patriot. And remember, love yourself and love others. Thanks.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks.
There's always